Yo, what's good everybody? It's the one who never takes a loss, ICECOOLBOSS, your source for the Toronto Raptors. Today we've got a special video detailing the incredible true story of NBA champion Fred Vanvleet. Most of you probably have already heard of Papa Vanvleet, especially after his phenomenal performance in this year's NBA Finals against the Golden State Warriors. A finals in which Fred Vanvleet performed so well that he received an NBA Finals MVP vote. Fred Vanvleet has an incredible story that more people need to hear about. It hasn't been all sunshine and roses for Vanvleet. Like many, Vanvleet struggled early on in his life. Fred Vanvleet grew up in Rockford, Illinois, one of the most dangerous cities in the States. Rockford, Illinois was ranked as the 5th most dangerous city in the US in 2016.
That's terrible.
The city attained a Burger King whopping 26 homicides per 100,000 people. Damn! To put that in perspective for you, Toronto, which has over 10 times the population of Rockford, Illinois, had only 1.68 homicides per 100,000 people in 2016.
Inconceivable!
To say Vanvleet grew up in the hood would be an understatement. Vanvleet grew up in the hood. Frederick Edmund Vanvleet Sr. didn't have to wait long before he became aware of the violent community he grew up in. One night, Fred's father, who was a talented basketball player, was shot and killed in a drug deal gone wrong. Fred Vanvleet was only 5 years old when he lost his dad.
We're at my grandparents' house and I go to the basement and, Mom and grandparents and my brother, everybody's down there crying, and I was trying to understand why, and then they told me, that my dad was never coming back.
Fred's mother, Sue, worked several jobs to provide for Fred Vanvleet, and she feared for his safety, so she married a cop. Probably one of the safest things that you can do. Fred, on the other hand, didn't exactly like the idea of having his dad replaced so quickly.
I hated him. I hated him from the day I met him.
Joe Danforth, Fred's stepfather, was the exact opposite of Fred's father. Joe was obeying laws, while Fred's father was disobeying laws. Joe was not exactly athletic like Fred's father was either. One thing Joe provided was some hard loving and some much needed direction.
Bed checks and room checks and doing dishes and vacuuming, and it was almost going to boot camp.
This direction molded Vanvleet into the hard-working man who is always willing to bet on himself. Fred Vanvleet overcame all of the distractions in his neighborhood by attaching himself to the sport that is basketball, a sport that has already changed so many lives. Vanvleet walked onto the grade 9 basketball team in an open tryout and earned the starting role. If you look up the all-time leading scorer for basketball in Rockford public school history books, you will see Fred Vanvleet's name. This record is not just for Auburn High School, a school in which Vanvleet attended. This record is also for all 4 public schools in the area. Vanvleet still holds the record
To this day! To this day!
However, when something good happens, something bad always follows soon afterwards. This was also the case for Vanvleet. After putting on a scoring clinic for Auburn High School, after Vanvleet was selected All-State First Team Selection by the Chicago Sun-Times, Associated Press, and Chicago Tribune as a senior in 2012, after Vanvleet helped lead Auburn to a 22-game winning streak, and after he led the Knights to its first ever Final Four appearance with a 3rd place finish averaging 21 points per game. After all of these tremendous achievements, Vanvleet was overlooked by every university in his state.
Say what?
Vanvleet was offered positions on more high-profile Chicago high schools, but he remained loyal to his local club. And Joe Danforth, Fred's stepfather, believes that this is why Vanvleet was overlooked. This disrespect towards Vanvleet led to him playing for the Wichita State Shockers. In Wichita, Vanvleet continued putting his name in more record books as he led the Shockers to their first ever undefeated season when they finished with a 31-0 record in the 2013-2014 regular season. An undefeated season was something never done before in the history of Division I basketball. The best season in Wichita State's 108-year basketball history included an MVC championship, the first one for the school since 1987. Wichita State was ranked number 2 overall by the media to win it all. Entering into the 2014 NCAA basketball tournament, Wichita State was undefeated with a 35-0 record. Unfortunately, similar to the 2016 Warriors' historic season in which they won a record 73 regular season games, in the end, it all fell apart.
It's good! Kyrie Irving from downtown!
In a game against the Kentucky Wildcats, VanVleet missed a potential game-winning 3 which ended the fairy tale season for the Wichita State Shockers. After this, the next 2 years, VanVleet was a solid player for Wichita State. Unfortunately, VanVleet would go undrafted in the 2016 NBA Draft.
I've been against the odds my whole life, and it's not gonna stop now.
VanVleet was persistent and continued to bet on himself as he declined offers from 2 teams to play in their D-League for $20,000. Fortunately, VanVleet secured a spot on the Raptors Summer League team where he impressed Masai tremendously. The Raptors had 14 spots tied up that year, and the 15th was up for grabs. Papa VanVleet beat out 5 other players for the final roster spot, including sharpshooters like Brady Heslip and E.J. Singler. VanVleet signed a multi-year 2-way deal with the Raptors on July 16, 2016. And in 2017, VanVleet and Siakam led the 905 to its first ever G League championship. The Raptors realized that VanVleet was the real deal and locked him up on a 2-year, $18 million deal. Thankfully, the Raptors did, because after VanVleet had his newborn baby, VanVleet went on a tear in the playoffs. His numbers pre-baby and post-baby speak for itself. His baby was born at the right time too, because the Raptors were down 2-1 in the series against the Milwaukee Bucks, led by Giannis Antetokounmpo. VanVleet went into the finals for the first time ever and locked down Steph Curry every single game. Even when Steph had 47 points in Game 3, Curry could have easily had 60 points if VanVleet were not so diligently guarding him. VanVleet was performing so well, the Warriors attempted to take VanVleet out of commission in Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Sean Livingston elbowed VanVleet on a drive to the rim. Even after losing a tooth and receiving 7 stitches, VanVleet would later on score 22 points in the closeout game versus the Golden State Warriors. VanVleet was clutch and proved that he is tough as nails, and his talents were on full display for all of Canada to witness. An NBA Finals MVP vote speaks for itself. At the end of the upcoming season, VanVleet will join the long list of Raptors players looking to get paid. Who will Masai pay, and who will Masai let walk? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. From one of the most dangerous cities in the States to an NBA championship in Canada, VanVleet has overcome obstacles his whole life and is a great example for many people. If you bet on yourself, anything is possible. Enough of what I think. What do you think of VanVleet's incredible true story? What obstacles will VanVleet overcome next? And finally, will Freddie VanVleet replace Kyle Lowry as a starting point guard, or does Lowry still got what it takes? Let me know in the comment section down below. That's it for today's video. Take it easy, like, subscribe, hit that bell icon to be notified when I provide new NBA content. See ya!